In this section, we're going to talk about the percent of change. So when asked to find the percent of change, and that could be a percent increase or a percent decrease, we use this formula to find the answer in decimal form. In other words, if it's a 25% increase, this will tell us the answer is 0.25. So we will have to convert our answer from decimal to percent form. Now, I want to briefly explain to you why I think this is a super important lesson. So my uncle is a small business owner up in New York State. And he told me this when he found out I was teaching math. He was like, make sure you teach kids percentages, because I have 40 and 50-year-old managers in my stores who clearly don't understand them. So we talked about markups and discounts in the previous lesson. So here's what happened. I'm just going to use simple numbers to try to make it straightforward. Let's say they bought a sweatshirt for their store for $10 from whatever company makes the sweatshirt. So they bought that sweatshirt for $10. Now their normal markup, and this is a common thing for retail, their normal markup is 100%. So what that means is they take 100% of the price, $10, and add that to the price, so they sell it for $20. So they buy a sweatshirt for $10, sell it for $20, so they make $10 of profit. However, they understood percent so poorly, and I'm talking about 40 and 50-year-old adults. He told me they knew the standard was 100% markup. But they're like, we need to get these to sell faster, so let's do a 50% discount. Because here was their thought. Well, if we do 100% markup and then a 50% discount, we'll still make 50% of the profit we would make at the normal price. Which, if you just think about these two numbers, is like, oh, okay, sure. If you raise the highest price 100% and then lower the price 50%, you're still going to make 50% of your profit, because we just think 100 minus 50. Oh, still a 50% profit. But that only works if you don't understand percents. Because think about what happens. If they buy the sweatshirt from a company for $10 to put in their store, they increase the price by 100%. It's 100% of 10, they're raising it. But then they're giving you a 50% discount on the $20 price, which lowers the price back down to $10. Which means what they buy it from the sweatshirt company for is the same as what they're selling it for to the customer, meaning they're making no profit whatsoever, because there is a $0 difference between those two numbers. But because they didn't understand percents well, they just saw 100%, 50% and thought, sweet, we're making half the profit, but it'll at least sell faster. When in fact, it did sell faster, but it made them no money. So this is really important to understand how percent change and percents work. Okay, so the formula you got to remember is new minus old, all divided by old. So in the problems, the first number they list is the old, or sometimes it's called the original price. The second number listed is the new price. After you solve this, you evaluate this, and you do it in the calculator, that's fine. You got to move the decimal to the right 2 places, because we want our final answer to be in percent form, not in decimal form. Now, if your final answer is negative, that shows you that it's a percent decrease. If your final answer is positive, that means it was a percent increase. So for example, up here, this would be a 100% increase and then a 50% decrease, because it was going up 100%, then down 50%. Okay, so let's get started. So the original price is $156, and then you can tell it went down to $98. So honestly, you can tell if it's an increase or decrease as soon as you start. But this is the old or the original price. This is the new price. So I put 98 first. That's the new. Minus 156. That's the old. Over 156. Now, when you do this in the calculator, I encourage you, your calculator is a little different than mine, I know that, but I would encourage you not to type this in all in one line. There are ways to do it correctly on one line using parentheses, but I'd recommend you just do 98 minus 156, then hit enter. So you don't have to write this stuff if you don't want to, but now we see it's negative 58 over 156. So now that we've done the top, we've simplified the numerator, we can divide by 156, and we get negative 0.3717. So we need to move this decimal place over twice. So we get negative 37 point, and we'll round to the nearest tenth. So this 7 moves neither than 1 up to 2, and say a negative 37.2%. Now I will accept the answer written this way, or you can say a 37.2% decrease. Either one of these answers is correct, because the negative implies decrease. However, do not put both a negative and say decrease, because that's like putting two negatives in and implying it's positive. So either just leave the sign negative and don't say decrease, or just use the positive version and say decrease. Either way, it's totally fine. Okay, same process for number 2. So 19 kilograms is the old. So that will go here and here. 27 kilograms is the new. So this is the growth of a big dog from 19 kilograms to 27 kilograms. So you can do this in the calculator, but the first one, 27 minus 19, that's 8. So then we do 8 minus 19, 8 divided by 19, and we get 0.4210. We move the decimal place over 2 spots, and we get 42.1%. And you can just leave it that way because the positive implies it's an increase. Or if you want to write the word increase with it, that's of course fine too. Nothing wrong with having 2 positive words because that's still positive. Okay, number 3. From 90 yards, so that's the old price, to 72 yards, that's the new. Sorry, it's not price. I should say old value, new value. So 72 goes in for the new value. 90 goes in for both spots for the old. 72 minus 90 is negative 18. And then we'll divide by 90. So 18, negative 18 I should say, divided by 90 is equal to negative 0.2. So when I move the decimal place over twice, I get negative 20%, or you can say a 20% decrease. And I'm writing it both ways just so you see it both ways, but you don't have to write both. You can just write one or the other. Oops, forgot the word percent, or the symbol. Okay, number 4. From 86 hours, that's the original value, to 75 hours, that's the new value. So 75 minus 86 over 86. So 75 minus 86 is negative 11. Then we divide negative 11 by 86. And we get negative 1.279. So we move the decimal place over twice. So that's 12.7, but that 9 makes us round it up to 12.8. So you could either say a negative 12.8% change or a 12.8% decrease. Those are both correct ways to write the answer. Okay, so that's the new stuff. I want to review a little bit from the previous lesson here on the back as well. So this is going back to discounts, fees, markups, and tips, and things like that. So this is a review of the last section. Everything you need to know about percent of change you can see on the front page. All right, now back here. It's at least related to what we did on the previous one, because you remember we said new price equals the original times 1 minus the discount, or the new price is equal to the original price times 1 plus the tax, fee, tip, or markup. Those aren't division symbols. That's just saying it can be any one of those. Okay. So original price of a camera. So the original goes right here. So I'll put equals $249.99. And a discount is subtracted because it's off. It's a decrease of the price. So we get 1 minus 0.15. So you can type that in the calculator if you want, but 1 minus 0.15 is 0.85. So we do $249.99 times 0.85. And we'll round to the nearest penny, so the new price is $212.49. Okay, original price of vacation. So we put original price after the equal sign. It's $12.50, but they are going to charge a service fee of 7.5%. Sorry. So we change that to a decimal by moving it over 2 places. We say 0.075. Oh, I said minus. That's my mistake. A fee adds on to the cost, so I should say plus right here. So make sure you remember, only the discount gets subtracted. The rest get added. Okay, so in the calculator, I'd recommend first doing what's in parentheses, 1 plus 0.075, hit enter, then multiply by the original price, $12.50. So the new cost due to the service fee is $1,343.75. Okay, this one, the original price of the comic book. In other words, when the comic book shop buys it from DC or Marvel or Image Comics or whatever other distributors there are, it costs the comic book store $2.50 to buy it from the publisher. So that's the original price. However, so they can make a profit, they mark it up 60%. So I changed the 60% to a decimal. So to find out what the comic book store sells it to their customer for, we do 1 plus 0.6, and then we multiply by $2.50. So the comic book store is going to sell it for $4 so that they can make a profit of $1.50. Okay? So let's say you go out to eat, two or three of you go out, depending on the restaurant, what it might cost. The price of the meal is $41.57, but you do choose to give them a 20% tip on top of that. So that adds to the cost, which is why I put a plus. I changed 20% to 0.20. I get 41.757, times 1.2, because 1 plus 0.2 is 1.2. So your final check for what you're going to pay is $49.88.